Hello dear student, all of you welcome back in lecture number 5. In today's lecture, we will focus on here the life cycle of nephrolipids regarding to the reproductive part, chapter number 2nd Rhabdophyte, subject BO 121 plant life and utilization paper 2nd, semester 2nd. So I am Mukta Bhamre, assistant professor, Department of Botany at KTHM College, Nasik. So the student session agenda of today's lecture is chapter number 2nd, Pteridophyte, the life cycle of nephrolipids. Within that we focus here the reproduction. Within the reproduction we will see here the vegetative reproduction of nephrolipids, asexual reproduction of nephrolipids, sexual reproduction and alternation of generation in nephrolipids. So the student, this all point we covered in our today's lecture. So the recap. So in a previous lecture, the student we already seen that the internal structure of sporophyte means the anatomical part. We already seen that the TS of stolon, then TS of rachis and TS of pinna or leaflet. So the TS of stolon, it shows the protostele. Then TS of rachis, it shows the meristele, and TS of pinna, the pinna it's having a upper and lower epidermis. Okay, then below the lower epidermis there is a placenta is there. Okay, and on that placenta there is a arrangement of sporangium, and below that there is a single layer that inducium is present. All these points we already covered in our previous lecture. So the student, today I am focusing here the reproduction in nephrolipids. So within that, the first type of reproduction, the vegetative reproduction. So student, it takes place with the help of death and decaying process of rhizome. So the student, when the older part of the rhizome, it undergoes death and decaying. So it's a death and decaying process. Okay. So within through that death and decaying process here, the fragmentation of rhizome is takes place, and through that each fragment, okay, it's develop into the new rhizome. So it takes place by death and decaying process of rhizome. When the progressive death and decay of the older part of the rhizome reaches up to the place of branching, and it separates into the two branches, and from that two branches there is a two individual of nephrolipids plant produced. Then the student, it also takes place by the budding from primary and secondary stolon of nephrolipids, and finally gives rise to the new plant. Then the student, I am focusing here the asexual reproduction. So the fern plant is a sporophyte. It is a diploid sporophytic plant, and it reproduces asexually by the formation of the spores. At maturity, the sum of the leaflets of pinna produce the reproductive bodies in the form of the ventral side. That means there is an abaxial surface of the leaflet. Okay, so such a leaflet with sori or the fertile pinna is known as a sporophyll. So the student here, the sporophytic plant body of the nephrolipids, okay, it's produce the sori. Okay, here the sori, the position of the sori always born on a ventral side, means it is the abaxial surface of the leaflet, and the leaflet which containing the sori or producing the sori, okay, it is called the fertile pinna, and it is also known as a sporophyll. So the sori, it is nothing but the group of asexual reproductive bodies which develop into the two rows on the ventral surface of the pinna along the margin. So the student, this sometime question is asked like that, what is a sori, Okay, so the sorus and sora, it is one and same. Okay, singular and plural. Okay, sora and sorus. Okay, so the student sora, it is a nothing but what, a group of asexual reproductive bodies which develop into the two rows on the ventral surface of the pinna along the margins. Okay, and they develop on one of the vein ending of the fourth vein, and which is towards the apex. Okay, and so the student, when this sora, it is in a anger condition, light green in color or it is a brown in color, and each sorus consisting of a group of sporangia which develop on a cushion like outgrowth or parenchymatous cell. That cushion like outgrowth of the parenchymatous cell, it is a nothing but the placenta. Okay, and it's covered by a membrane structure. That membrane structure, it is called the inducium. So the placenta, it's provide, see that placenta like outgrowth is there. Okay, so the inducium, it is a kidney shape in a surface view, and the sporangia develop all around the placenta except at the notch region. Sporangia produce a large number of spores, and the placenta provide the food material to the developing sporangia, and the inducium covers and protect the sporangia. See the function of the inducium. Inducium, it gives the protection to the sporangium. So see the student, this is the sori. Okay, see this is the leaf. Okay, but it is not normal leaf, it is not vegetative leaf. Okay, this leaf is called the sporophyll. Why it is called sporophyll? Because it bears the sori. See at the abaxial surface, at the ventral side, see there is a rows of the dot. Okay, kidney shaped dots are there. Okay, that kidney shaped dots are nothing but the sori. Okay, so the student, see this is the row of the sori. It is present on the both the side, both the opposite sides of the margin. Okay, it's consisting the means row of sori are there. Okay, at the abaxial side. So the students, see this fertile leaf we call, or we call the sporophyll. Remember that. So the student, next I am focusing here the structure of sporangium. So the sporangium are a sexual reproductive structure. Each sporangium, it consisting of the basal stalk, and at that basal stalk, the upper side, there is a present the distal capsule is there. See the student, the stalk structure. The stalk, it is a multicellular, it is a short, slender, and this stalk, it is a made up of 2 to 3 vertical thick walled rows of the cell. Then above the stalk, the student, see this is the oval or rounded shape capsule is present. The capsule is oval, biconvex and disc-like structure. The wall of the capsule is made up of the single layer. See, this is the wall of the capsule. Okay, and this wall of the capsule, it is made up of the single layer of flat thin wall cell. Along the periphery, it shows the distinct complete ring of the cells which is a vertically placed. Okay, see this is a distinct ring of the cells. Okay, and these cells are vertically placed, and see these cells are called as annulus. So the cell of the annulus, see it is a very thick and it is a brown. Along the inner tangential and radial walls, while the outer wall, it is a slightly thin. One side of the capsule, the annulus is replaced by the larger size cell. That larger size thin wall cell, it is a transversely arranged elongated cells are there, and this elongated cell structure, okay, it is also called as a stromium. So this is the annulus and it is called the stromium also. Okay, so at the maturity, this sporangium open through this cell, okay, forming the stromium. This transverse thin cell, the student, it is a stromium part, and this thick wall cell, it is called the annulus part. Okay, when this sporangium become mature, okay, and the that sporangium which become mature, okay, and this sporangium get opens through these cells, okay, these transverse thin cells, and it's called the stromium. When young, the sporangium contains the 16 diploid spore mother cell. See the students, say this is the spore mother cell. Okay, so these spore mother cells are diploid. Okay, and the spore mother cell undergoes the reduction division meiosis. Okay, and forming the spore tetrad. See, after the meiosis, see, this is the diploid spore mother cell. So the student, reduction, division, meiosis takes place, and result of the meiosis, there is a forming the tetrad, or the forming the 4 haploid spores, okay, and therefore each sporangium contain the 60 spores, okay. So the student, see, this is the spore, okay, kidney shaped spores, haploid spores are there. See, this is regarding to the structure of sporangium. So the student, next point I am focusing here, the mechanism of dehiscence of sporangium. When the sporangium it fully get matured and weather is a dry, the dissemination of spore takes place. The annulus and stromium play a very important role in the dehiscence of the sporangium. At maturity, the wall of sporangium start to lose moisture and dried up. At that same time, cell of the annulus lose water. As a result, the drying of the annulus and it creates the equal tension on the cell wall. This tension makes the annulus cell it is a straightened up to this result in breaking of sporangium by rupturing the thin wall cells stromium. Thus the spores are dispersed. Each spore is more or less kidney shape, slightly flattened. That spores are dark brown in color. Spores are haploid, means it consisting the single nucleus with protoplasm or protoplast. It is made up of the two layer. The spore it consisting the two layer. The outer layer it is a thick brown. That outer layer it is known as a hexosporium, while inner layer it is a thin. It is called the endosporium. All the spores of the same type. Okay, therefore the Nephrolipis is a homosporous type. Okay, MCQ is asked, Nephrolipis plant it is a homosporous or a hexosporous. So the student remember that the Nephrolipis plant it is a homosporous. Okay, so the next I am focusing here the germination of spore. Okay, so the student, after liberation of the spore from sporangium, and this spores it is a place on the suitable substratum under the favorable condition. Okay, that spore undergoes the germination, and the hexosporium it's get breakdown, and the endosporium grows into the short germ tube formation. After some time, they divide into the unequal cells. One it is called the rhizoidal cell, and the another it is a prothalli cell. The rhizoidal cell is a small and colorless, which gives rise to the unicellular rhizoid, and the latter by repeated transverse cell division is there, gives rise to the green filamentous structure. Soon the division takes place in other planes to form the green plate-like body, and due to more rapid division and growth of the marginal cell takes place, and then there is a formation of plate-like structure, and it get converted into more or less heart-shaped structure. So see, after the spore germination, okay, then its repetitive division is there, and then there is a finally forming here the less heart-shaped structure. It is called the prothallus. Okay, so the prothallus, or it is also called as a gametophyte. So the student, I am focusing here the structure of the gametophyte. The prothallus is the gametophyte of the fern. Remember that MCQ is asked. Prothallus, it is a nothing but what? The gametophyte of fern. It is a haploid. Why it is a haploid? Because it is originated from the germination of haploid spores. Okay. See the structure of the gametophyte. So the student, this gametophyte, it is a dorsiventrally flattened. It is a green in color. It is a delicate and heart-shaped structure measuring about the 5 mm across at the border end. It shows a notch. See, this is the notch. Okay, and it's see the notch is there. Then while ventrally at the narrow posterior end is there. Okay, it's produced the unicellular hair-like structure are there. That unicellular hair-like structure, it is a nothing but rhizoids. Okay, so the student, rhizoid, it is a nothing but the unicellular tubular structure. Okay, it's anchored within the soil. It's absorb the moisture. Okay, it's absorb the water and minerals. Okay, that is the root is absent. The main function is the absorption of water and minerals from the soil, and fixation of the gametophyte. It is the main function of rhizoids. Remember that. The prothallus is a one cell thick except towards the notch, okay, where it is a many layered, forming a cushion like structure. The cells of the prothallus are closely arranged, thin wall and full of chloroplast. They are autotrophic in nature. So the prothallus is a monoecious because see the nephrolepis, it is a homosporous, okay. So this homospore undergo germinate, okay, to produce the monoecious prothalli. So the student, what is a monoecious term, okay? So the monoecious means that prothalli, okay, or that gametophyte, it's produce the both the sex organ on the same gametophyte, okay. So the male sex organ antheridia, while the female sex organ archegonia produce on the same prothalli or the same gametophyte, okay. So it is called the monoecious. Remember that, student, MCQ is asked, okay. So the prothalla is monoecious, okay. At maturity, it produces the male sex organ antheridia at the lower side, okay, and towards the notch, below the just notch region, they produce the female sex organ archegonia. So the students, see, this is regarding to the structure of prothallus. So the student, next I am focusing here the structure of sex organ antheridia. Firstly I am focusing here. So antheridia, what is antheridia? Antheridia, it is nothing but male sex organ of Nephrolepis plant. Okay, so the antheridia are male sex organ which are developed ventrally towards the narrow posterior end between the rhizoid. Each antheridium, it is a sessile, okay. It has a globus structure. Means what? Sessile means they do not having a stalk, okay, and they are embedded within the gametophytic tissue or prothallite tissues, okay. So each antheridium is a sessile and has a globus structure. The wall of each antheridium, it is made up of the 3 cells. The proximal, it is shows the ring cells. See the proximal cell, okay. It is a ring cells are there. The middle second ring cells are there. See, this is the second ring cells are there, okay. And the apical third, okay, it is called the cap cell. See, this is the apical third cell, it is a cap cell, okay. See the first ring cell, then this is the second ring, and see this is the third cell, it is called the cap cell. The both of the antheridium is filled with anthrazoids mother cells, okay. See, this is the anthrazoid mother cells are there. So the student, this anthrazoid mother cell, or it is also called as androcytes, okay. Each of which androcyte undergoes the metamorphosis into the single male gamete, okay. That single male gamete, it is called the anthrazoid, okay. Or the student, that anthrazoid, it is also called as spermatozoid, okay. So the student, remember that each anthrazoid is a haploid, okay. So the anthrazoid, when we see the structure of the anthrazoid, it is a multiflagellated. See the flagella, it is more than 2 flagella is there. Multiflagellated, it is a coil-like structure. Under the humid condition, the antheridium absorb the water. The mucilage content swell up, and as a result, the lead cell come off, or that capsule come off. The anthrazoid coated with the mucilage are liberated from antheridium. Mucilage dissolve in the water, and the anthrazoids are free to swim in the film of water. Then see the student, the next I am focusing here the structure of archegonia, the another sex organ, the female sex organ of the Nephrolepis, okay. So the antheridia, it is a antheridia we already seen in the last previous slide. Here the archegonia. The archegonia, it is a female sex organ which developed ventrally on the anterior cushion-like area and toward the notch region in previous slide, okay. In that in a prothalli we already seen that the position of archegonia, okay. So the archegonia, it is nothing but what? The female sex organ which develop ventrally on the anterior cushion-like area towards the notch of the prothallus. Each archegonium is a sessile, they do not having a stalk, inverted. It is a flask-shaped structure consisting of the globular venter. See, this is the prothallite tissue. It is embedded. See, this is the globular part, basal globular part. It is nothing but the venter. And see, this is the tubular neck-like region. The venter is a completely embedded into the prothallite cell, and that contain a single large egg, or it is also called as a oosphere, toward the base, and the venter canal cell toward the neck. See, these are the venter canal cell, and see, this is the neck of the archegonia, and see, this is the venter. Okay, and the venter, okay, there is a single egg or oosphere is there, and venter canal cell. Okay, and see, there is a neck canal cells are there. The neck, it is a very short, and it is a curve towards the posterior end. The wall of the neck is a single layer in a thickness, which cells are arranged in a 4 longitudinal rows. See that the 4 longitudinal, see, these are the neck canal cells, and close at the tip by lead cell. It consisting of the single elongated binucleated neck canal cells. Okay, so the student, see, this is the regarding to the structure of archegonia. So the next I am focusing here the fertilization. So the fertilization, it is the most important event. It takes place only in the presence of water. So the student, remember that water is essential for fertilization. For here the swimming of anthrazoid, it is only possible when water is present. Okay, so the water is essential for anthrazoid to swim towards the archegonia and to break open the neck of archegonia. Prothallus is a monoecious. As a rule, there is cross fertilization as antheridia mature much before the archegonia. When the archegonia mature, the venter canal cell and the neck canal cell undergoes the disintegrate, or it is a dissolved to form the mucilage substances. The latter absorb the water and it gets swell. As a result, that the lead cell or cap break open and mucilage ooze are out. The mucilage containing some chemical substances, and which attract that chemical substances anthrazoids. Okay, and therefore the fertilization takes place by the process of chemotaxis. Okay, so the anthrazoid enter the venter through the neck, and see, one of them penetrate the egg, and see, this goes, see, through that neck canal, that anthrazoid goes towards the egg or oosphere. Okay, among that, the one is penetrate the egg and fuse with the egg nuclei to form the diploid nuclei or zygote. The zygote produces a cell wall around itself and forms the oospore. It is a initiation of sporophyte. Okay, so after fertilization, okay, there is a formation of zygospore. Okay, so the next I am focusing here the very young sporophyte. So the students see that many archegonia of the prothalli are fertilized, but only one oospore divide, and it is a redivide mitotically within the venter to develop the embryo. Okay, and early embryo consisting of the foot, then root, stem, apex, and cotyledon. See, this is the spore undergo germination. Okay, so it produces the germ tube, then filamentous, then here forming here the rhizoidal cell and the prothalli cell. See, the rhizoidal cell, they produce the rhizoid, and finally there is a development of heart shape prothalli. Okay, it's having both archegonia and antheridia. Okay, so the after see here the foot, it is embedded into the prothalli and absorb the nourishment. Okay, so the foot, it is embedded into the prothalli and absorb the nourishment. For, see, this is the foot. Okay, so then this is the root. Okay, this is the prothalli, it is a stem, apex, and these are the cotyledons. Okay, so this foot, it is embedded into the prothallus and absorb the nourishment for the developing sporophyte till it becomes independent. Okay, therefore initially the sporophyte, it is a dependent on the gametophyte, but later on root enter into the soil, while the cotyledon and stem, apex, bench come come up through the notch of the prothalli and develop into the young sporophyte. The prothallus degenerate and young sporophyte develop into the new fern plant. Okay. So see, this is regarding to the germination of spore and development of prothallus. And see the prothallus with embryo. See, this is the prothalli, development of root prothallus, and here the young sporophyte. Okay. So until that sporophyte become independent, they are dependent on the gametophytic tissue. Then it independent when it is a leaves are arises, then root are arises, then it become a independent. Okay. So the next student, I am focusing here the life cycle of nephrolipase. So the life cycle of nephrolipase, it distinctly shows the two distinct alternation of generation, in which one is a diploid sporophytic generation, it is a dominant phase, and the another it is a gametophytic generation, it is a haploid phase. Okay, and it is a reduced. Remember that which generation it is dominant, which generation there is a dominant sporophytic generation. So, and the gametophytic generation it is a reduced. They alternate one after another in the life cycle of nephrolipase plant. The sporophyte it is a asexual generation, it is a diploid, and dominant stage it is a differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Therefore it is a physiologically independent. At maturity the sum of leaflet or pinnas, okay, they develop into the sporophyll, means they bear the sori. Sporophyll produce a group of sporangia, it is called the sori, and sori on the lower surface of the pinna they developed, and each sori it produces the sporangium. Sporangium consisting of the 16 diploid spore mother cell. That spore mother cell which undergoes the reduction division meiosis, and they develop the 64 haploid spores. And the spore formation, okay, it is a induction of the beginning of the gametophyte. Okay, so the haploid spore were produced. Okay, and see that haploid spore undergoes the germination, and then it is a beginning of the gametophytic phase. Okay, spore undergo germination, spore are dispersed in a dry climatic condition. When the spore fall on the suitable surface, okay, it's undergo germination and gives rise to the gametophyte. Okay, so the germination of spore, and then there is a formation of gametophyte or prothallus. Okay, so the gametophyte of the fern it is called the prothallus. It is an independent stage in the life cycle, and the gametophyte it is the sexual generation which is a haploid, as it produced from the spore germination, after the spore germination. So the student prothala it is a green and it is a monoecious. Okay, they produce the both the sex organ, antheridia and archegonia. Antheridia it is a male sex organ, while archegonia it is a female sex organ. Okay, and archegonia they produce the haploid egg, while the antheridia they produce the haploid antherozoids. Okay, so the fertilization takes place. For fertilization water is essential. Okay, and the fertilization takes place in presence of water by the process of chemotaxis. The gametes fuse to form the diploid zygote, okay, or oospore. Okay, zygote which produced a wall around the developing oospore. The oospore is the beginning of the sporophyte, and after the period of the rest germination within the venter to develop into the embryo, and which is a further develop into the young sporophyte. So the prothallus gradually degenerate and the young sporophyte developed into the independent fern plant. In this way, the sporophytic generation, okay, this is the sporophytic generation, okay, it is a alter with the gametophytic generation, and this is known as alternation of generation. Okay, one by one sporophytic generation alter with the gametophyte alter with the sporophyte. Okay, and see this phenomenon it is known as the alternation of generation. Okay, so the life cycle of nephrolipase it is a systematic representation. Okay, I'm already explained here. Okay, so the student, see this is regarding to the complete pteridophyte chapter. Okay, in which we already seen that the classification of pteridophyte, then life cycle of nephrolipase regarding with habitat, distribution. Okay, then external morphology of sporophyte, stem, root, leaves. Okay, then reproduction, anatomy of sporophyte. Okay, anatomy of stolon, anatomy of rachis, anatomy of leaflet or pinna. Okay, and in we already covered in today's lecture the reproduction in a nephrolipase. It reproduced by the vegetative reproduction takes place with the help of the fragmentation of stolon. Okay, budding. Then sexual reproduction takes place with the help of the sex organ, male sex organ antheridia, while female sex organ archegonia produced by the gametophyte or prothalli. And the asexual reproduction takes place with the help of the spores, and the spores produced by the sporangium, and sporangium develop within the sora. Okay, so see, this is regarding to the entire chapter of that pteridophyte. Okay, so the student, you have any doubt, any difficulty, then you ask me on our Google Classroom, okay, or our WhatsApp group. Okay, so on chapter number first as well as this chapter number second, okay, I will give you assignment as well as tutorial on our Google Classroom. Okay, all of you follow that. Thank you.